Okay. João, you hear me well, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And we are ready to start. Welcome everyone to another session of Effisus Connect to Value. So I have today with me João. João, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Henrique.
And today the main topic will be vapor control layers when used in Rainscreen Cladding Facade. Just to brief note about the chat box that you have available on the side of your screen. So please feel free to go there and place any question that you find valuable for this session. And we'll be more than happy to answer to those questions. So when it's regarding to ventilated facades, we usually we are used to look at them as being able to acquire any shape that the architect needs, that the owner wants. So it is quite simple or quite possible to achieve any shape, any color, any aesthetic that we find important to have in the building. And of course, buildings are mostly sold by their aesthetics, etc. So, but of course, we also need to care about the quality of life of people that will be living or using those spaces. And so managing the vapor that crosses the facade or that may find prison within the facade, it's a very important thing to be designed and to be discussed, as it will highly influence the quality of the air within the buildings and the efficiency of the building, the facade itself. And so we'll be discussing a little bit more of this vapor management within the facade layers of the Rainscreen cladding. The current market situation, we see it like this scheme we're just looking at right now. That is one-way interaction. So it's something that so the producers, the manufacturers are some specific but limited portfolio of products available, and customers go to the manufacturers and decide which product would suit better their needs. And so they just this is just one way action. So they just go there and decide what they want, and there's no exchange of information about the product and the project itself. So sometimes, and at Effisus we find this as the way it should be through this Effisus methodology. That is through an interactive dialogue, we would be able to get information about the project, requirements, very specific requirements, the access to the site, the way people on site will be able to install the product. So everything should be taken into consideration in order to achieve the best solution we can provide to the job. So this is more or less what Effisus do, but not only this interaction is not only with the client itself. So the client, of course, is our big priority in terms of being well served. But we think and we see this as an action together with some partners. There will be, of course, laboratories certifying and developing our new solutions, for instance, and helping us to achieve the market demands that are currently changing and being updated. But also universities, of course, with this researching process. And then the main players within the project itself, there are of course the developer, but the consultant and the architects that are designing the project, and the contractor itself, that is, and the main contractor, the facade contractor, that will be installing the product and buying the product, and also insurance companies as for instance, in the UK market, they're a main player that validates and certifies the solution in regards to their insurance to the project and to the building. And so today we'll be focusing our analysis on this VCL topic on the European climate. As you know, the usual is to have cold on the outside and warm on the inside. Then we have rain on a large part of the year, actually. So if we look just inside a Rainscreen cladding scheme, we should be able to understand or to see there is a cladding, of course, so the finishing of the facade of the building. Then we have brackets or fixing tools to hang the cladding on the facade, and then sheeting board, the insulation, the thermal insulation layers that we have normally within an SFS system, and then the plasterboard just finishing on the inside. So regarding vapor, this always occurs like this. So it goes from the warmer ambience, or from the warmer side to the cooler side, and so here in this kind of climate, we'll find it that way. So just going from the inside to the outside. But as you have rain, we normally would place here a waterproofing layer that sometimes can also have vapor-tight properties, which would block the vapor that's trying to go out. And as this vapor would be blocked just in here, where just after crossing the insulation layer, the thermal insulation layer, of course, this section in here will be much more cooler than this one, just inside the insulation layer, and so they will turn into liquid water, of course, as it finds the most cold surface. And then one possibility would be to create a breathable membrane just in here. But today, as we'll be discussing more on VCL, so this would be this layer in here. In this case, in this kind of climate, we should place, or normally it is placed, a VCL just on the inside of the insulation layer, so on the warmer side. And this vapor layer would be blocking the vapor and impeding the vapor to cross the facade or to reach the cold surface. And in fact, what could happen not only in this surface in here, but also within the insulation layer, is that our temperatures could cross the dew point line, and after that will be risking or having the risk of having condensation within the facade. So once we are blocking the VCL just on the warmer side, we'll be avoiding those kinds of possibilities of risk. Another thing that is important to mention when regarding VCL installation on the inside is, of course, taking care of any interfaces of any connections, etc., as any air leakage could turn into important thermal losses. So everything that we are trying to create here, providing a dry insulation for the life of the building, could be compromised by those air leakage. And so here, as we have a breathable membrane, we have the chance of evaporating any vapor that could be present within the facade. So at Effisus, we have these four main divisions. And so we have breathable, we have vapor, we have EPDM, and we have prefabrication technology. Those are the main, I would say, segments of technology that we have available. And we are able to play with each one of them in order to get the best solution to the project. Today, we'll be more focusing on the VCL as told, and so even within the VCL technology, we have different options available, to be able to suit to fit the project needs in a better way. So here we have just a scheme of what we've been talking, and today we'll be more focusing on the VCL. So this is the internal layer normally on this cold climate. And I have here just a shot from CWCT showing that vapor control layer can be applied in different places or positions within the facade. So this is not a linear topic and easy discussion topic. So this should be studied project by project. João, would you mind just sharing a word here regarding the main considerations to the VCLs or regarding VCLs on the project, please?
Yeah, so here Henriquez are the main characteristics of a VCL membrane, which is a vapor control layer, as you mentioned. So the main feature of a VCL is to not allow the airflow that's coming from the inside to go to the outside. So say, meaning the exchanging of air or the airflow, especially from the inside, it always is the warmest side. In this, again, we assure not only the vapor tight of the building, but again, the whole efficiency, the whole air tightness of inside the building itself. It's important to mention that the quality of the installation, the quality of the accessories, this is all together. And you should look into detail when analyzing this type of installation, especially in the VCL, because it will be the main feature of the inside of efficient or air efficiency of the building. In this case, the RVCL in specific protects not only the vapor tightness, the air tightness of the building itself, but from cases of inside of fire, as we will be discussing today's or A2 membrane, and is smoke and toxicity inside the building.
Okay, very good. And so here, João, you can see some of the main performances or main characteristics we should take into consideration when choosing a VCL, for instance.
Yeah, so we need to look again, what would determine the exactly type of VCL is the project itself. So we need to look at certain requirements when it comes to vapor resistivity or vapor resistance, tensile strength, and again, fire reaction. So at Effisus, we do have a Class E fire reaction vapor membrane, VCL membrane, but we do also have, which is the best you can get in the market currently, is the A2 S1D0. Other things you should look at detail, as I mentioned, is the tensile, which is really important. And again, this will depend on the actual project aspects. And most of this will come from the base characteristics from the material itself. Again, if you look at the Vapour FR that we'll be discussing, since it's a fiberglass material membrane, it has extremely resistance to tensile. Same thing here for vapor resistance. And all this is to avoid having a VCL, is to avoid all these common problems that we see outside. When it comes to mold growth, saturation, corrosion of the components, since this air will be pretty much trapped inside here, if you don't have this vapor control layer, this is the main things that will eventually happen inside the building.
Yeah, indeed. And this is, as I was saying in the beginning, this kind of problems will highly affect the quality of the air, for instance, of the people that are using the space. So just here, I can highlight these main points regarding our A2 fire rated option. So again, as it is a VCL, we'll have a vapor barrier, watertight and airtight membrane. In this case, regarding EN 13501, we'll then be achieving this A2S1D0, and very specific or very important thing to be highlighted in here is that this classification was not only achieved for the membrane standing alone, but also including these fastening accessories, overlapping accessories, and perforation accessories, which means that the full system is certified, not only one single membrane. And once you are installing this system, you are installing a fully tested and certified system, and not only a membrane with some glue or tapes that could fail in the general test, or that could compromise the performance of the membrane when installed together as a system. So everything was tested as a single system, and of course CE-marked and able to be customized with different widths, with different self-adhesive bands, but not only. Other ways of customizing the products are available. And UV resistance, normally this is installed on the inside, but for instance in the Middle East it is installed on the outside, and UV resistance turns into a very, very important point. João, you already shared some things about these values, but here we can now have the support of this scheme. So you mentioned already tensile strength. So this is really different from a standard membrane.
Absolutely, Hick. So before I talk a little bit more about this, I would like to highlight the previous, as you mentioned, about air quality. So it's really important to mention that this product is specific, the Vapour FR, has achieved the Eurofins classification for indoor air quality, and we got the gold classifications, which is in compliance with the most of the eco-friendly European programs for VOC low emissions, as BREEAM, LEED, M1, EMI code. So this is really important. If we forgot to mention some over here. And some of these aspects, as for instance, EMI code and even LEED, we got even the best classification itself. Okay. So we went even a little further on testing. One thing important to mention, again, the class A2S1D0 was achieved standalone for the product, but also including the whole accessories. So we try to replicate sort of the facade scheme as the 13501 standard, which is just a normal corner, 1 by 1.5 height. And we use it on the exactly board. The accessories for fastening, which includes the tape, the pasta adhesive itself. And we went for testing again and achieved the same fire reaction classification. So this is something completely different as the standard market. And here is just a quick comparison in regards to just a standard Class B Vapour membrane, VCL membrane. And what I like to mention is when you're getting our membrane, you're just not buying a fire performance, but you're getting a lot on tensile, even tear resistance, in this case, water vapor resistance. Again, most of it because of the base material composition of the VCL, since it's a mix of a fiberglass and aluminum. Those are a very mechanical resistant. And the aluminum itself is very, very tight. That's why if you see a Class B, it goes to 336, always goes to up to 7,000.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, João, for sharing all the information, and the one related to environment issues and certification ambiental issues are really important. And so just here, just making some or sharing some notes regarding the method statement of this VCL membrane. And you can see, for instance, here in these pictures, different possibilities regarding VCL membranes. Of course, one polyethylene based, so pretty much combustible, and our fire rated system, so Class A2S1D0, as we were just talking about. And here we can see some details or some drawings showing how we can install the VCL. So in terms of fixing, this is really simple. We normally use lines of self-adhesive tape just on the back of the membrane. So we just remove both liners and you're able to attach the membrane to those tapes. And this is normally very easy to do on an SFS system, as you have the metal studs just available to apply the tape directly. So a smooth surface, really easy to clean and install the tape. Normally, even the spacing are more or less aligned with this one. It is not exactly there will not be the problem as we'll be having the definitive fixing method just when the plasterboard comes. And so really easy way to install. And regarding overlaps, it's basically the same. So playing normally with self-adhesive tapes, we can have here some difference between the choice or regarding the choice of the tape between one system and the other, but we'll be supporting and assisting you on this definition of the accessories. And so here on the overlaps, we'll be mentioning on our documents, on our supporting documents, regarding the width of the overlapping, of course, when it is vertical and horizontal, but also about this way of overlapping of doing this overlap between rows. But please, when regarding VCL, we can understand that we do not have usually this kind of corners as we are playing with the height of the floor, and so we normally are able to have very few rows installed in the same facade, so very few overlaps. Normally it's an horizontal overlap, very easy to handle with. And so I would also like to share some pictures taken from the site, because this, when we are thinking about the role of membrane, everything seems pretty linear and pretty easy to do. And in fact, it is not difficult, but we should have the information and be aware that we have some specific and singular elements crossing the facade. And so in this case, we have perforations, of course, for even for fixing the plasterboard in the end. We have pipes, we have ventilation ducts just crossing the facade. So we have many situations that we have to deal with, and our information in here, our opinion in here, and what we would like to add to those projects in this phase is through our inspection and regular visits that we periodically do to the jobs, to the site. We help you understanding how you can deal with this kind of things. But even though we like to have this even in a previous phase, more previous phase. So when we are designing, when we are supporting architects and consultants through the design stage regarding VCL, for instance, or the full system as we'd like to play, we would be asking for this kind of details as much as possible. So in order that our guidelines that we provide to the site are already predicting this kind of perforations, even if we have not the very accurate information about how many, what's the dimension, etc. If we find some, we will already be aware of how to deal with them. So if we find pipes, we should take this kind of measurements. If we find some rectangular shaped ducts, we should make this kind of interface and sealing methods. So this is just how we'd like to do. But of course, during our inspection to the site, we'll be able to provide you assistance and to help you doing this kind of details. So really simple, but it is important to play with the right accessories, of course, in the right way. So here we have a very specific solution that we have for the perforation. So as I was saying, when we have the interior of the SFS and we need to fix the plasterboard, will be no way of not being fixing or perforating the VCL itself. João, could you please share some information regarding this very specific product, please?
Absolutely. So this is Effisus 2 Bond ES. It's a double-sided sealing tape that we use specifically to seal this type of bracket perforations. So in this case, since it's a double-sided, you just remove one side of the foil, you apply in the bracket itself, and then you just fasten the bracket on top of the membrane in this case. It's interesting to see, as you see in the picture, this is exactly what happened. Once you fastener, the whole tape will start to encapsulate in, the nail screw perforations. And in this case, we have the completely sealing or water tightness of these points. We have even other types of installations. When you try to, in case, remove the screw, you see how the tape will sort of merge inside the screw itself, assuring this completely sealing of those specific points.
Yeah, indeed. And this is a very particular solution that initially was even developed for underwater duct sealing. So very, very able to manage water and moisture. So just as we're closing, regarding the importance of this detailing, I was just sharing about the importance or highlighting the importance of trying to have as much information as we can before or during the design stage, and to be able to understand those very specific requirements of the project, because we have different portfolio, have different accessories, and we can just offer the ones that serve best the project requirements. And of course, doing that will be not only meeting the project requirements, but also reducing the probability of having leakage points. All compatibilities will be ensured, because we'll be having so the full system considered, and all details, all interfaces will be managed between ourselves and the consultants or the architect. It will allow us to give proper training before during the site and prior to the installation, during the installation and prior. So just sharing some guidelines before, but also making us able to follow the job installation, and then avoiding less errors at site and at design, less waste, etc. So really improving the facade efficiency. So just finishing, I would like to just to give my contact to you, to share my contact. So you have here my email and phone number. Please feel free to reach out in order to get more information. I would like to thank João for being with me here today.
Thank you.
And hope to see you in the next Connect Develop session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.